What's up, Ranger Nation? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here today with the review for Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. This is episode 19, and we are one episode away from the series finale of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. So, without further ado, I'll get started with the video. So, before I actually get started with the review, I want to talk about a few things. I do know that we do know the identity of the Gold Beast Morphin Ranger, and we have saw some photos that have surfaced of the Gold Beast Morphin Ranger and the Silver Ranger filming, so I'm looking forward to Power Rangers Beast Morphers. And then before we even get into this episode, I've been sitting here for the last week, and with my DVDs that I have, I've been binge watching Power Rangers Turbo, Space, Lost Galaxy, older seasons of Power Rangers. And there's a thing that I noticed with those seasons as opposed to current seasons. When it comes to the end of the season, the generals of the Power Rangers, the generals of the villains, they usually get defeated first, and then we segue into getting to the finale, where it just leaves the main villain by themselves, i.e. Power Rangers. Well, Power Rangers in Space didn't really do that. What Power Rangers in Space did was, that was the first time where we really, Turbo introduced the destruction of the Zords. But then, Space continued that, and then with Lost Galaxy, we saw the destruction of the Zords. We saw the generals being defeated, Trakina destroying Villamax, DVI merging with Trakina and being destroyed. Then we move over to Lost Galaxy, Vipra, Queen Benshira took her energy, Lokai was defeated, Diabolico and Olympius were defeated, leaving Queen Benshira by herself. And in Time Force, Frax was defeated. Gluto put himself back in prison, leaving Rancic and Nadira, and actually Nadira went good, so it left Rancic by himself. Wild Force, Gendrax, and Toxica, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they had, Mandalok was defeated, and then Gendrax and Toxica, they didn't deal with Master Org because he wasn't the real Master Org of the 3,000 years ago, so left Master Org by himself. And where am I at now? I'm at Wild Force, Ninja Storm, General Zurgane, he was defeated. Shimatsu, who else was in Ninja Steel? Ended up leaving Lothor, and Dino Thunder with Mesogog. Zeltrax was defeated. Elsa, was Elsa defeated or did she turn good? I can't remember. I have to go back and watch that, and so on. So you get the gist of it. But with the later seasons, we haven't really saw the generals too much be destroyed. I think we saw it in Power Rangers Super Samurai with Dayu, but we didn't see it too, and I think we saw it we saw it in Megaforce with God, what was his name? What was the villain's name? Can't remember, because Megaforce is not one of my favorite seasons. But like I said, we haven't really saw too much where the generals get defeated, leaving the villain to fight the Rangers by themselves. So now we're gonna start with the review. All right, so now I'm gonna get started with the review. So the episode starts out with Mick. He's on a Warrior Dome, and he's working on the satellite, and it's gonna be part of Madame Odious' mind control device. So then Brax comes in and he asks Madame Odious for a second chance to fight the Rangers, and Madame Odious tells Brax that there's no need for him to get a second chance to fight the Rangers, because what's going to happen is her mind control device is going to beam down to Earth and broadcast the show to the humans on Earth. And Mick questions Madame Odious as to why the humans would want to watch a TV show with monsters fighting, and Madame Odious says, well, they're not actually going to be watching a TV show with monsters fighting, they're going to be watching a TV show with humans fighting, because we're going to go down to Earth and we're going to kidnap some humans, bring them back to the ship, and the humans are going to fight, and that's what she's going to broadcast to Earth to put the humans under her mind control. All right, so on Earth, the kids are, Brody and Levi are being dropped off at school by their dad, Mr. Romero, and he sees that there's a big line outside, and he's like, what's going on here today? And they tell him that there's an audition show for a TV show, and it's going to make whoever gets on the show, they're going to be super famous. So then they go into the school, and they told their dad that Haley was auditioning for the show. So then they go into school, and Haley's there, Preston's there, and Sarah's there. No Calvin. So Haley's like, Calvin is late. Well, Brody and Levi said that they're sorry they're late. She said, well, you guys are here, but Calvin is still late. So then Calvin does show up, and she says, so what it is he was supposed to bring her props, and Haley asked him, where are my props? He said, well, she asked him what happened, and he said he had car trouble at first. And then he says, she said, like, where are my props? And he says, I put them by the door and on my way out the door. And then he realizes he completely forgot her props. So then Haley gets on stage and she's doing her audition, and it's a reenactment of Romeo and Juliet, which I was kind of confused as well. Like, you're auditioning for a TV show. Why would you do Romeo and Juliet? But she does her Romeo and Juliet, and then, the director of the show tells her that's enough, and then he calls for the next performer to come up there, and the next two up there are Victor and Monty. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a life and death scene. Now, when they do their life and death scene, it goes completely wrong because Victor has a mallet and he hits, what is his name? Monty's kneecap, and his reflex kicked him. Then he put him on the bed, and it's one of the, it's like a hospital bed, but this bed flips up and, kind of crushes Monty. Then he lets it down and it flips Monty in the air. And, like I said, it went badly thinking to everybody in the room, but the director actually liked it, and he gives Victor and Monty the spot. And Haley's like, I was much better than Victor and Monty. And she asked, Calvin, what was his opinion? And Calvin tells her, I thought Victor and Monty were funny, and I did not think that you doing Romeo and Juliet was, appropriate for that. And he said, it would have been better if you had props. She said, I would have had my props had you brought them, but you did forget them. So then we see Victor and Monty. They are outside with the director. They're asking him, about being famous, what it pays. And then we see the other Rangers. They're coming out. And Preston tells the Rangers that his cousin is having a party. And Brody asks him, where's the party? And they pay homage to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Turbo, Power Rangers in Space, by saying that the party is going to be in Angel Grove. I was like, yes, Angel Grove. Like, I love original Power Rangers. Now, I have a discussion with people on Twitter about it all the time. What's my favorite season? And I have people, everybody says original Mighty Morphin is their favorite, which is mine too. But Mighty Morphin is actually second place to me because Power Rangers Lost Galaxy is my number one favorite season, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like, I love Lost Galaxy. That is the season that I live for. Like, I watch that season on repeat. So, so I love them saying Angel Grove. So then, the Rangers do see that, Victor and Monty, they see them with the producer of the show, who actually turns out to be a monster. And the two that were behind Victor and Monty were Bastrobots. So then they zap Victor and Monty up to the Warrior Dome. Okay, so then the Rangers morph and they fight the monster. I didn't quite get his name. So, they start fighting him. Brody transforms into the Lion Fire Red Ranger. He uses his final attack on him. He thinks he defeats the monster, but he did not defeat that monster. And then, Brax comes to Earth. And then on the Warrior Dome, Cosmo gigantifies both Brax and the monster. So the Rangers call on the Ninja Steel Megazord and the Ninja Blaze Megazord to fight Brax and the monster. Now they're having a hard time fighting the monster and Brax. So, then they combined to make the Ultra Zord. And, they fire at Brax, but Brax doesn't take the hit. He lets the monster take the hit, and the monster is defeated. So then Brax fires at the Rangers one more time, and then the Rangers say if they take another hit, they can't afford to take another hit. So then what happens next is Brody comes up with a bright idea. He uses the Fusion Star to disengage the Ninja Steel Megazord from the Ultra Zord, and uses the Ninja Blaze Megazord to combine with the Ultra Zord. So then once they do that, they use the final attack, and they actually defeat Brax. All right, so then we have the Rangers. They are on their way back to the base. They're trying to figure out a way to help Victor and Monty out of the situation that they are in. And, Haley and Calvin are talking, and Calvin tells Haley, what? It's a good idea. Maybe it's a good thing that you didn't get, on the show, because then you would be in the same position as Victor and Monty. And, Haley is upset because her feelings were hurt when she asked Calvin for his advice about, his opinion on her audition. And, he's saying that, again, he's talking about how it could have been with the props. And she's like, well, you weren't there to help me rehearse. And, like I said, she's upset because her feelings were hurt. And then they just actually break up with each other right there. And, I think the other Rangers felt the same way that but Calvin felt. They just didn't say it in that time that she asked Calvin for his opinion. All right, so then on the Warrior Dome, Madonna, she is upset because her love Brax has been defeated. But then we see Victor and Monty, who are dressed up like two clowns. And then we see them, they go out to the main stage and they have these rubber mallets in their hand and they're hitting each other with it. And the crowd is booing them. So then they started dropping, little things down to get them to run around. And I guess that excites the crowd. So then, Madonna goes to talk to Madame Odious. And what Madame Odious does is she, shoots the mind control beam down to Earth with the broadcast of the show. Now, what this does is anyone who watches this broadcast, they will instantly become under Madame Odious's control. So every TV on Earth is playing the fight with Victor and Monty. And it's actually on every single channel, because we saw it in the high school with Principal Hastings, and she was trying to turn the channel. She's like, why are Victor and Monty on TV? And she's like, they're actually on every channel. So, like I said, every channel on Earth is broadcasting Victor and Monty. So regardless of if they turn the channel, they're still going to see Victor and Monty, and they're still going to be under Madame Odious's control. So then in the base, Redbot is noticing this. He's like, that's the Warrior Dome. And then he is like, you know what? I got to figure out what's going on with this broadcast and why is it showing. Right. And then we had the other Rangers. They are walking back, I guess, to the base. And, Haley and Sarah are talking. And, Haley is still upset about Calvin and how she felt he was wrong. But Sarah takes the time to tell Haley, I actually do agree with what Calvin said. And Haley was like, well, did Calvin put you up to saying this? And Sarah says no. She said it was, I wasn't the only one who felt that. A lot of us felt it. And, and then Haley was like, but he didn't show up to help me. And, Sarah's like, but he's gotten better though, hasn't he? And she was like, she agreed with her. She said, let me call him. So then Haley calls Calvin, and, Calvin is in the city where there are people who are under Odious's mind control. So, he sees Haley calling him, but he ignores the phone call. And then he walks by one of the TVs and he sees Victor and Monty. And now Calvin is under Madame Odious's mind control. So then we lastly see the other Rangers. They are going to the school. When they get to the school is closed. And then Principal Hastings comes to the door and she tells them that school is closed and for them to go home and watch TV. And they're like, what? So, Levi, he peeks into the school and he sees Basherbots in the school. And then they get a call from Redbot, and Redbot tells them not to watch the TV because Madame Odious has a mind control through the TV. So then, Mick, he beams down from the Warrior Dome to the school, and the Rangers see Mick, and then they finally put it together that Mick never went to the Lion Galaxy and that Mick is under Madame Odious's mind control. So then we see Madame Odious, she and Madonna's in the school, and they're taking the humans out. And they're taking the humans back to the ship to prepare for phase 2 of Madame Odious's ultimate plan. So this is episode number 19. Like I said, next week is the series finale of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. And then we have the Christmas episode. And then we'll go into Power Rangers Beast Morphers. And like I said, I'm super duper excited about Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Let me know what you guys think about this episode, this season, and let me know what you guys are expecting to see from Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and I will see you guys later.